The WNBA is boring. End of story. The official media, that is. And I'm not the most exciting person in the world. I am well aware of that fact. But the folks who are part of the official media, those that have the insider information, those that get access to the owners, to the coaches, to the front office, to the players, those people are some of the most boring individuals in the world. Mostly because if you go off script, WNBA will pull your ability to have any access. They're trying to scrub any kind of valid entertainment from the WNBA media. And honestly, I'm trying to figure out why. Why would you go about making sure that everybody is an automaton? Because that's what they are. They're automatons. Nobody cares. That's the sad truth of the matter. Nobody cares. You listen to these folks, and it's like, what in the world? But let's get into that. And also, hit like and subscribe if you don't mind. So let's get into this.
Hey folks, this is Paul with Redneck Sports. I want to thank you for viewing my video. And I want to give you one thought process. There was a famous coach at the University of Tennessee by the name of General Robert Neyland. He had 6 maxims, but number 2 maxim is what everybody should apply to their life. Play for and make the breaks. When one comes your way, score. That's how to live your life right there.
Now, there are people that I enjoy listening to that cover the WNBA. I like listening to Mick Talks Hoops, but he's an Irish fella. He's not got an insider track in any way, shape, or form. I love listening to Adrienne Ross. She is someone who, hey, she comes from a coach's perspective. She knows the game. She will break it down. There's a couple of others that I've listened to, and right now I don't know what their names are right off the top of my head. But those two, plus couple of others, when I listen to them talk WNBA, it's like, okay, they're not trying to denigrate the players. They are talking from an actual standpoint of loving the game. Both of them, both those two are coaches. There was one gentleman that I heard recently that broke down exactly how Caitlin Clark is being attacked, you know, hand checking and physical, they're grabbing onto her. Okay, all of that is amazing. But if you watch the official media, you take like say the official NBA media, which is, Shaq, Sir Charles, Kenny Smith, Ernie Johnson, you listen to them, or even Candace Parker, whatnot, they're able to give honest views on the NBA, and the NBA loves them. But the WNBA has this problem where they don't want people telling the truth about what's going on. And if you try to, well, you're not going to be part of the official group. I watch these shows and I go, what in the world? It's seriously, you might as well have AI up there, not Allen Iverson, but artificial intelligence, because it will do about the same thing. Might mess up the information a little bit, but it will pretty much do the same thing. They come across as robotic, and even when they show emotion, it's just like, "Eh, da, 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 da." There's no excitement. And this is hurting the WNBA. And part of it's from the business standpoint of if right now during the CBA talks they hype up the WNBA, then that means the players will have something to, hey, look at what this is doing. But it's also the simple fact of that they're worried about people's feelings when they need to get some excitement going. you can't get excitement going unless you've got some weird takes going on. And no, I'm not talking about how these women are dressing before a game. They do that in the NBA and they do that in the WNBA, and I don't understand that. I mean, seriously, folks, yes, there are some wild outfits that both the NBA and WNBA athletes wear, but in all honesty, what in the world is that? Why is that a hype up point? That's the most hyped up point of official WNBA media, and it doesn't work. Really. Think about that. Do you care what Sophie Cunningham is wearing? As good as she looks, do you care what she's wearing that's showing off her legs or whatnot? Really? If, if you are, I worry about you. Because that's the same thing with some of the outfits. I love it when Shaq and the child gets into it about some of these weird outfits that these NBA players wear. All it is something that has nothing to do with the game. But is there a business standpoint to all of this? Now, part of the problem is that unless the name is Caitlin Clark, they want to protect the feelings. They want these WNBA athletes to not have anything that upsets them with a take that they wouldn't like. Okay, but if you give a take on something and it's not to their liking, I know as me personally, I'm either going to try to prove you wrong or just ignore you. You can complain about me all day long. Go ahead. Most of the time, all I'm going to do is just go, okay, you don't like me. Fine. But they're acting like these WNBA players have the emotional IQ or emotional quotient or whatever the official terminology is on that EQ of 2 year olds. And I'm trying to sit here and figure out why that they consider it this way. Now, I'm not someone who normally cares about somebody else's feelings. I try not to destroy somebody's ego or whatnot, but I do know, possibly because I was in the Marine Corps, that there comes a point where you have to motivate people. And they ain't doing it via the coaches or whatnot. The owners aren't doing what they need to do on that side. And the WNBA media, if they're asking the right questions, if they're not accepting the canned answers from these players, then that might actually get some of these women to go, okay, maybe, I'm doing something wrong. And if they react in the right way, this could actually get them more notice. Like, can you imagine Shaquille O'Neal talking to these folks or Charles Barkley? For that matter, okay, you would have to probably settle on Kenny Smith because Kenny Smith or Ernie Johnson are probably the more benign members of that show, but you need that kind of show. You really do. You need a show in which there is some hilarity. You need a show in which people don't care about your feelings. Shacked in a fool. That would be amazing for the WNBA. I mean, seriously, it would. After a while, that would cause them to realize what they are doing wrong as a consumer based product. Right now, that's all they are, and there aren't many consumers of that product. The right show would help bring in viewers. The right personalities would bring in viewers, and how they interact with the athletes would make it even better. If you have somebody that knows what it's like to do this, talking about it talking about these athletes, all of a sudden these athletes are going to be going, okay, that's part of my game I'm missing that nobody else is telling me I'm missing. And they're challenging me. Well, if these women are as weak as they're treated, well, they're going to collapse. And you want to know what? That might be necessary. Because until you get some of these women standing up and being far more, and they're being pushed by those that are trying to bring in consumers for their product, this will never be something that will be that good. The WNBA really has nowhere to go but up if they do this. If they were to have valid people calling them out for silliness. You may think I'm wrong, and I want you to tell me if you think I'm wrong. Because I think they need folks out there pushing them harder. I really do think that would help. Now, the WNBA has been a failure from the word go. How can you tell? Because they have to have charity given to them by the NBA. These players are entitled individuals that think just because they can shoot a basketball that they're worth something. Well, I hate to tell you this, but you're not. Y'all continuously spout politics that nobody wants to hear. Y'all get out there and on the court present a product that nobody wants to watch. You might be good at women's basketball, but you're not good at marketing yourself. You're not good at actually doing the job that you want to be paid for. You complain, oh, we're not paid enough. Really? You're paid too much in most cases. If I'm watching a game of any sport, one of the reasons why I do not watch soccer, well, any other part of the world other than the United States, it's football. But in the US, we call it soccer. Don't ask me why. I don't know what caused that. I'm not going to look it up. But nobody in my immediate circle watches soccer. Why? Because it takes for too long to do anything. The score is way too low. And if somebody is scoring way too much, then it makes the game even more unbearable because you're going, the other team really isn't doing their job. And it just comes down to it's boring to me. I know that billions of people around the world love the sport. But here's the thing hockey, soccer, what lacrosse, and those types of sports is not basketball. Basketball has evolved into something in which people want to see offense. They want to see good defense. They want to see good offense, and that ain't what you're getting in the WNBA. Now, that's one of the reasons why Caitlin Clark is so loved, because that woman can do logo threes. She's a Steph Curry type player. And you've got Kelsey Mitchell, who's doing good, Sonia Citron, but the rest of their teammates are sitting there not scoring to any great degree. So you're seeing players that are bouncing back and forth between the two sides and they're not scoring. There's no Dennis the Snake Rodman. Hey, let me tell you something. Dennis Rodman may not have scored, but at least he was worth watching. You're not having a Bill Russell type. Brittany Griner is, in all honesty, the closest thing, but she ain't got the rest of a team around her, and she ain't anywhere near the level of Bill Russell. By this point, the WNBA should have had a Bill Russell type. They should have had a Wilt Chamberlain type. But the coaching is horrific. The athletes are, it almost makes some people, not me, because I know my limitations, think that they could do better than the women. And then when you actually see them play against people or against guys who are younger than them, outdoing them, because that happens, you realize that the WNBA as a product is not going anywhere. But this could be changed by having a media, official media that is, not the Adrian Rosses, not the Mick Talks Hoops, but official media that is pushing them, that is making it entertainment. None of this is entertainment. It's like I'm watching AI being stats being put into an AI that is computer generated and then talking that way. That's all it seems to me. And that is why you would need an official media that has the inside route, so to speak, to talking to these players and whatnot, that would actually help them get to that point, make them into a more palatable product for the consumer. But hey, it's just my thought process on it. This has been Paul, the Redneck with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.
I want to thank you for watching my video. And if you like what you saw, like, subscribe, and comment. Y'all have a good day now.